Friday, April 17th. Good morning from Europe. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, guys. Piotr here, the Slide Forex Global YouTube channel, and it's a mid-month metals market update. Let's start with the gold, then go through the silver. Let's have a look how long it's going to take. Maybe we are going to have some time to also check the platinum or palladium. Without further delay, let's jump into the first chart, guys. Alright, so the first thing first here, it's a question about the gold and what next with gold, guys. As I'm going to show you with the next few minutes, very interesting things. Of course, you are able to see it, but I want to share my view here. I'm still not bullish, let's say that way, right? Maybe more neutral than bearish than what I've been talking about last time, but the bearish view, my bearish view, might get back into the game very soon. Now, what is important is the current behavior, right? Current gold behavior, especially yesterday. So based on the weekly chart, still few hours left, but based on the weekly chart, guys, we are building quite nice upper shadow. Now, the upper shadow is the only one thing. The second thing is that if we are going to take into the consideration that the real move to the downside, right? The real move to the downside happen from here, right? Happened from here. Why I think it happened from here? Because that was the zone, that was when we get bigger supply, right? And we took out the latest demand. So that was from here. That was from here, move to the downside, consolidation, downside, consolidation, downside, etc., 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 right? So what happened here and here was the retest of the supply. There was some kind of the rejection. We have the explanation that it was mostly because of the margin call, because of what was going on the market. Okay, I get it, but still it was also based on the possible supply we've seen here, and that was the possible supply from the late 2012, beginning of 2013, right? So after seven years, finally we got back here and retested these levels. After strong pullback, there was attempt to go higher, right? And that's the most interesting thing, in my opinion, going on right here, right now. That's why I think this week is very important, because if you have been watching if you've been watching my educational videos, right, then you know that if we have one direction, usually we are going to finish that direction with the stop hand, all right? What I'm trying to tell you, that if we are going to get the weekly close below that high, below 1690, if we are going to get the close below that level, then things might start to get interesting, because we are going to activate that supply, and the supply, if you remember, we have to the left, right? Let me show you one more time. Right, so we are going to activate those two supplies, and then the buyers might be in trouble, especially those buyers who bought above 1700, right? Those who bought above 1700. That's gonna be the first possible supply based on the long liquidation, right? So that's how I see the things. So we can call it as a stop count if that's gonna happen. If we are going to get the weekly close below 1690, if we are going to have this upper shadow, we might call it that was some kind of the stop count above significant levels, right? Meaning that that stop might end the whole move to the upside for now, right? If you remember, we were talking previously about that consolidation, and we were talking that 1250 mid of that consolidation, right? That's what we are looking for, and we quite haven't get that low, right? So, well, I think that it's time for the bears to try to step in, to try to be a little bit more aggressive. Of course, for us, we cannot move the market, so the smart thing is gonna to be to stay neutral, at least to stay neutral for now, right? That's how I see the things when it comes to the gold, to this weekly chart. Let's switch lower. To the daily chart. Let's switch lower to the daily chart, and still here and even on the hourly chart they're gonna be visible some significant level, which is very, very important from the buyer's perspective. And I think that's what we discussed based on the weekly 1690, right? It's very, very well visible here on the daily chart, right? It's this double top over here, right? With the huge, after the second top, with the huge rejection, right? So if we are going to place on this lower time frame, if we are going to place the zone over here, right? Okay, so as you can see, what was it? Friday, for Thursday, Wednesday, and Tuesday. Monday breakout, Tuesday retest, higher, and now towards the end of the week, huge fight is going on around 1690. Of course, it's not. It might not. I wouldn't say it's not going to be, but it might not be one after the close below. It might not be one-way ticket to the downside because of that Riley base rally, right? So there is a little bit of the support here around 1660 plus minus the zone visible here, because that was the Riley base rally, right? So 1690, and from the daily chart perspective, levels close to 1660, 1650, and then 1575, and then we have the way open much lower. For those who like some kind of the megaphone formations, is also possible that we are going to have this megaphone formation, and then 1250 on the way. So I'm a little bit not very much exposed to the downside on the gold. Don't forget that you can monitor what I'm doing. The link is in the description. You can monitor my trades. You can also follow the trades. So we will see what's going to happen. So I'm waiting before I'm going to decide to add into my shorts, right? Because I've been very close to to liquidate my shorts. But anyway, waiting for the weekly close, and we should get some kind of the answer, because we don't have that answer yet. We might see strong step in by the bulls, and we might see end of the week above 1700, right? Above 1700. Okay, that's how I see the things when it comes to the gold. Let's switch to silver, because gold took a lot of time. Let's switch quickly to the silver. No change in view. Still think the levels closer to 10 might be in play. We were, if you remember, we were talking this possible over under, so levels below 10 towards 950. All right, the latest sell-off hit the top of that possible demand, as you can see over here, right? We hit almost top of that possible demand. So what we have there is the situation that, well, some may think that it's gonna be V, right? I don't think it's gonna be V. I think we might see one bounce one, right? So that should bring us towards 10, maybe 950, and eventually only then, if the sentiment around will be better, if we have some kind of the knowledge when it comes to the vaccination tests, new possibility to get the vaccine for this coronavirus. If we are going to have more information, of course, it's not going to happen just like this straight on a daily basis, but that's the weekly chart of the silver, so we still have a time. Well, if you are going to ask me if it's better to be short gold on silver, with this sentiment, probably silver, but I would like to see some higher levels from the intraday perspective when it comes to the selling opportunity. In that case, we are talking about the levels close to 17, right? So still 10% higher from here, just to retest the bottom of that consolidation, right? Over here we had. So medium term, long term bulls are still probably on the sideline, waiting for a stop hand below the latest low towards 10 and 950. Sellers probably a little bit higher. Next one we are going to watch from the daily chart perspective, Palladium. All right. I remember when I was doing the video, and I've mentioned that we need to see some kind of the pullback, right? Not crash, which happened, right? But some kind of the pullback. I do remember a few comments. Oh no, it's only to the moon. I've been sure that day that we are going to have a pullback. Of course, I didn't expect crash. So we crashed it even to the very best possible entry towards the latest weakness, right? So if you are trading metals medium term, if you are aware about that possible demand zone over here, the latest weakness, that was some kind of the buying opportunity. Of course, no one expected that dip and that bounce then as well. What now? What now when it comes to the next possible price move, right? I think that as long as we are below 2,300, 2,500, right? Probably we are going to revisit lower levels. What I mean by that, I think that we might revisit that zone just to create some kind of the over-under, right? So the low, lower low, break higher. So this time retest of that level. In that case, we are talking at least about the levels below 2,000 towards 1,900. That's how I see things here. And the last one, that's what I see on the Palladium. And the last one, Platinum, that was ugly, right? We were discussing that is the weakest one. So, well, now it might be time, because it's a weekly, then it's a daily, but it might be time. It's gonna take the time, but it might be time right now to start to watch the behavior around current level, right? The level is close to 800. That's very interesting thing may happen here. Now, almost, if we are going to make the measure, almost we did that move to the downside, right? So in case of the move back above 800, the things might get interesting. It might be the false break. We might open 10,040 and above as the latest, the whole weakness. It could take us much higher towards 1400, 1500. But as I mentioned, it's just the time to start to watch. Of course, I'm not gonna be surprised that the sellers are gonna be very active around the current level, right? So the sellers, so we have upper shadow, well, because the very significant level been broken, right? So some activity from the sell side here, no doubt about it. Only close above 800 could bring some kind of the relief rally, some short covering, stuff like this, that may open again 1000, 1050, and only close above, right, might bring some higher levels. Guys, it was my pleasure to make this update, mid-month metal update for you. Don't be trapped. It's Friday, very close to the weekend, so don't be trapped. Wait for the proper setup. I'll be around with another update around the US Open. Then we are going to check, as usual, indices and FX. Have a good one, guys. Take care and goodbye.